All right. Yo, yo, yo. What is up? It is that time again. Um, we are here for One Piece chapter 1190. We are 10 away from the big 1200. I am super excited for this chapter. We had what felt like a long break week after the climax of last chapter. So I'm very excited to get into this. I also wanted to let you guys know in the link in the bio, there's my Linktree, and I started a One Piece TCG business. And you can purchase the cards that I have pulled on TCG Player. So make sure to check that out if you are into the game. So, but without further ado, I really want to get into this chapter because it is a good one. And if you're new here, it is down in the right hand corner with my logo imposed over it so we don't get copyrighted. And this is the official translation because it just came out like 2 hours ago. So we'll start off with the reader request. It is Shanks. It says reader request Shanks grilling fish for breakfast in a port town surrounded by cats. That's interesting. It, it's weird that they just say a port town because this is obviously Windmill Village because right there's Luffy. So it has to be, and Shanks still has the straw hat. So this is literally like after he met Luffy, but before he lost his arm because he definitely has both his hands. So that's pretty interesting. But the chapter is 1190, Those Whose Death Brings Celebration. Already crazy. Crazy title. Which makes me so worried for Gabon because I don't want him to die. But I feel like he's gonna. So let's get into the first page. Okay. So Emu and Gabon clash with their axes. And for those who took notice last chapter, Gabon, as he's blocking Emu, also cut the tree down behind him that was holding Luffy in place. So you can see in like the left side of the panel that the tree was cut down by one of Gabon's axes while he blocked. Like, which just goes to show you how fast this guy is. Like, he was so fast, he cut down the tree behind him while he was running past and managed to block Emu's attack. Crazy. That's a crazy speed feat, considering how insane Emu is. But anyway, so they clash, which this also sucks because Gabon isn't even at full health. Like, he already got poked up by Gunko. And then, yeah, he was patched up by Chopper, but, like, that was a few hours ago. Like, in the grand scheme of things. And now he's back fighting Emu. But Luffy looks absolutely destroyed, but he's somehow still in Gear 5. Like, usually, if, like, something was draining his vitality like that, and then on top of that he was getting poked up, he would probably revert back to normal, but he's staying in Gear 5 for some reason, which is interesting. Just a little note that I thought, in case no one was paying attention. So he pushes Gabon back, and the tree gets severed into like 4 different like pieces as well. So I don't know if he did all of that in one slash, because if so, that's also crazy. Or if Emu also attacking split the tree. Pretty cool though. All right, so then, come on, let me zoom in. Wait, is this like a double? No, it's not. Let me zoom in, damn it. Okay, here we go. So we see Luffy falling on the On the tree. Oh, so the swords went through the tree and are on the other side, and as it falls, it hits the swords and they like start coming out of Luffy and like shoot out because they hit the other side with such force. And you can see that Emu is actually out of breath, which means that when they were talking about the possibility of like a timer of him maybe running out of his stamina and not being able to stay in Elbaf, this might be hinting that it's getting closer and closer. But the swords come out, and you just hear oof, and Gaban's just spinning his axe like a fucking champ. And Luffy yells, and Emu slashes with his axe, but Gaban disappears. And he's above Emu. And he says, "You're a hideous sight, like nothing of this mortal world." Yeah. And Emu says, "Who art thou?" And Gaban says, "One who knows the world." And he just comes down and just starts walking away from Emu, like no problem, like not even a big deal. And Emu's like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" Like he's got like the whole question mark above his head. Why would you turn your back to Emu? That's a crazy move. And he's just watching, and Luffy's yelling, and Gaban just walks over and goes, "Hey," very nonchalantly. And he picks up Luffy by his neck. And he says, "On your feet, Straw Hat Luffy." Damn. Cold-blooded. He's all fucked up. And he's just like, "Yo, get the fuck up." And he's like, "Ow." And Gaban says, "I'm disappointed in you. Aren't you ashamed at getting saved by an injured old man like me?"
What'd you think of that?
I mean, yes, he should be. He should be ashamed. He should very much be ashamed. Because literally 2 chapters ago, this man launched towards Emu saying, "I feel so strong, no one could beat me." And then immediately got beat. Like, bad. Especially the fact that, yes, like I pointed out earlier, Gaban is still injured. And he goes, "Your white form, Emperor of the Sea?" And Louis like, "Ow, ow, ow." And Gaban's like, "Don't get full of yourself." And he says, "Yow, hey, old man, let me go." And Emu's just like, "What the fuck is happening?" And Gaban says, "Do you want to die here?" And he says, "No, I'm not going to die. Let go." And he goes, "You were a dead man walking. It's pathetic. What happens next after you're dead?" Ooh. Listen, Gaban is giving him the tough love. But, I mean, shit, he's not wrong. He was 2 seconds away from being packed up, like, permanently. Not like Kaido packed up. Like this dude was about to get killed by the big bad. Like, you can't just, forget that this time when he dies, there's a good possibility nothing's coming to save him. But he has Luffy by the face, and Gaban says, "Oh wait, no, I think this is Luffy." And he says, "I can't protect," huff huff, "my friend's country." And Gaban says, "That's right. And what happens to the crew you've brought all this way?" And he says, "Their lives are in danger." And he says, "Correct. Now you listen closely. On this sea, the higher you rise, the more enemies you have. The King of the Pirates is a title for those whose death brings celebration, because everyone else wants to sit in that seat.
I feel like you need to sit on that.
That's fucking this like monologue is so good.
And that's like kind of where the title comes from, right?
Yeah. Like that is so good. And honestly, if you look right here, this panel of Luffy looks so good. The way that Oda like drew his eyes like half there, like almost like a little transparent, and just the way that he's looking at Gabon, like realizing all of this stuff. And this is so great because I love Gear 5 because he's super goofy. And then I always heard everyone talking about the fact that he needs to be more serious. I don't think he needs to be more serious, but I think he needs to take things seriously while he's in Gear 5th. He needs to still have fun while also balancing the fact that this is endgame shit. Like, this is Emu. This is the biggest bad in the fucking series. This guy has ruled the world for 800 years. He is not somebody that you can just fucking turn into a genie and think shit sweet when you're fucking fighting him. Because obviously, look what happened.
Do you think you're gonna get like Rage Luffy?
I don't think you're going to get Rage Luffy.
Yeah.
I've always had this thought. I've always had this thought that Nika is like the embodiment of joy and liberation. And when Luffy goes Gear 5th, it's like he's in his full Zoan form. So he's goofy, he's whatever. But every Zoan has three forms. You have your full Zoan form, which is when you are the actual embodiment of the animal that you are, or mythical creature in this case. And then there's the hybrid form where you're literally you and that animal or mythical form fused together. It's a good compromise in between them. You know what I'm saying? Because like when you see like other Zoans like Kaido, you have Kaido and then you have dragon form Kaido where he's literally a fucking dragon. And then there's hybrid form Kaido where he has all the scales and he looks like dragon-esque, and he has a tail and shit, but he's also like up on both legs, fighting like that. So to me, there may be a form in between for Luffy that he's just never touched on. And like
Another gear?
almost like because we have Gear 4, right, which is kind of close to that in the sense where he has like the little essence of like a Hagoromo scarf thing, and then you also have him being bouncy and stuff like that, but he's not affecting the environment the way Gear 5th does. And I always thought it would be really cool if Luffy did get something that was more in between that helped him take some fights seriously that he needs to, but we still get Gear 5th in some instances that actually are helpful. So I don't know. There may be something there, and maybe it is another gear. Maybe there's something that even goes beyond Gear 5th. Everyone always talked about how if you talk about like shifting in a car, there are usually 6 gears. There's also a reverse. So there's a reverse gear in a sense. So like, is there a possibility that Oda may be mixing something in with that? So I don't know. It could be very interesting to see where things go from here. But I do like the way Luffy looks in this panel. One, it's just a really good drawn panel with the shading over his face, and the blood looks really good. Um, but I also love like this is a banger. Like whoever does like the voice acting for Gabon is gonna really have to fucking go all in on this moment in the anime. But also when they do the English dub, this has got a hit too. So I mean, it's just so good. Just the way that like this is which is it's very interesting because we've had Zoro have moments where he tells Luffy, like in Punk Hazard, when he's fighting Caesar and they're doing all these things, and Luffy kind of lost to Caesar's tricks. He was just like, yo, this is the new world. We need to fucking get our shit together. You know, just like when he was fighting Kaido and Big Mom, he was like, hey, these are two emperors of the sea. Like, we have to fucking take this shit seriously. Like, it's interesting that this is coming from what would be a Sanji parallel in the Roger Pirates. Because Sanji, I'm trying to think if there was a time where Sanji gave a speech like this. I don't really think so. But I don't think that it's not because he wouldn't. But also, it always seemed like in the flashbacks, Gabon was always telling Roger to be serious. But Rayleigh was also, like, it was basically like Gabon and Rayleigh were lecturing Roger constantly about taking things seriously. So this kind of tracks. But I really like this. Like, this is just a bar. Like, on this high seas, you rise the more enemies you have. The King of the Pirates is a title for those whose death brings celebration, because everyone else wants to sit in that seat. Just a bar. Just a bar. And he has Luffy, and he says, if you're imagining you can be king of the pirates with nothing but peace and sunshine and rainbows, save us all the trouble and go home. Damn. Oh, wow, that's a crazy thing to do. But Luffy says, damn it. And Gabon throws him, and he says, you're not cut out for this. And literally just chucks him. And he said, now stay out of my way, brat. Fuck, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. The way he just yeets him is insane. Listen, this... I have a feeling that a lot of people who want Luffy to take things more seriously in Gear 5th and stuff like that are about to get the thing that they've wanted. Whether it be a form or not. I think there's gonna be, I think there's gonna be a change.
I'll wait till the end.
Okay. Luffy just bouncing on the ground, and he's like, "Damn it, that stupid old man talking all that trash about me. I'll show you." Well, as you fucking do it. Do it then. I really want to see it. I do. And then Gabon has both his axes. I just love the fact that Gabon is like an axe man. Like the fact that we have so many swordsmen, we have so many martial artists, we have so many people that use different styles, but like we haven't had, besides Gabon, a serious person that's like, yo, they use axes. Like, we saw Silver Axe for 5 seconds in the God Valley flashback, and he did a whole lot of nothing. And like, this is just super cool. That's like why Sanji is such a cool fighter, because like he literally only kicks, and it's probably one of the coolest fighting styles, like choreograph wise and everything. Like when he goes on his like hands and does like the spinning like kick that he does like pre-time skip most of the time, I've always thought it looked fucking cool as shit. So like to have something that's very different besides for a generic guy with sword is super cool. But he uses a special move called Mantis Axe Style, Mantis Plume, or Mantis Plum. And he's just like spinning the axes while attacking Emu. And Emu says, "Is this a joke to thee?" he literally hit with the me. Like, am I a joke to you? And Gabon says, "You want to kill him, don't you?" And he says, "I do." And Luffy's just in the bag, just. "Arr." That's hilarious. First off, but this chapter is getting so good. Gabon says, "Does he remind you so much of Joy Boy?" Love it. I love it because, of course, I mean, he said it himself earlier in the chapter. He's like, "I'm someone who knows the world. Like I know the truth of the world because he was on Roger's crew. He read it or at least heard it all from Odin, who translated
Is
it."
this the first time we're hearing somebody from Roger's crew say Joy Boy or no?
No, we heard Roger talk about Joy Boy though. Because at the end, when they read the final poneglyph and they're on Laugh Tale, they all break out in laughter, and Roger, it's like this famous panel that says like, and then they laughed, and like it just shows Roger with like the tear in his eye laughing, and then he says like, "Joy Boy, I would have loved to be alive in your time." So like this is the second time that a Roger pirate has talked about it. Rayleigh has not. Well, no, technically, because Odin talked about Joy Boy,
Oh, okay.
I believe, at one point.
Oh, yeah.
And he was part of Roger's crew, technically. And he read the last poneglyph as well. So.
I think there's a difference, though, between, like, mentioning Joy Boy, because Joy Boy has also been, like, well, I guess no. Nika's been the legend.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Nika's more the legend. Like that in Wano, when Who's Who was talking about the people who worship Nika in prison and stuff like that. They talk about the sun god and things like that, and they've made reference
but
to it.
Call him Joy Boy.
They don't.
Sorry. Okay. Never mind.
So, and Imu says, "Who art thou? Dost thou recognize Mu?" And he pulls a katana out of his like omen ring, and it says Honbami Toshiro. Interesting. So this is like a katana. I wonder if this is from like the Goriseis, like Venus Juro, the one who looks like he's from Wano, the bald guy who has I think the Sandai Katetsu one. I wonder if this is his family's blade. I would have thought it was like because they talked about it last chapter. They talked about all of the different blades and things that that Imu had in from the original 19 Kingdoms. And Muramasa was one of them, and everyone thought that might be it. But this is another katana. So this is pretty interesting. And it also just, every time I see a new sword that is probably like a supreme grade blade or something like that, I just realize that Tashigi ain't shit. Because Tashiki's dream is to get all of the supreme grade blades, and she ain't fucking taking this from Imu. Ain't no way. Zoro ain't taking this from Imu right now.
I feel like they gotta do it somehow, though.
Nah, she just won't see her dream come true.
You think everybody else with her?
I don't think a lot of people are going to have their dreams come true.
Interesting. Okay.
I think everyone in the crew will, but I don't think a random Marine Tashigi is going to get her dream.
Okay.
The only other person that I could see from the Marines getting their dream is Kobe to become an admiral. But Imu says, "What dost thou know?" And he attacks Gabon. And like it looks like there's like an omen or like an evil spirit around the blade that is attacking when he attacks Gabon. And Gabon says the words of Joy Boy when he asked, "What dost thou know?" That's amazing. And he said, "But don't get it twisted. We're not blindly obedient to some man from the past we've never met before. We just want to see our captain's dream brought to life. or brought to light. Mmm. That's so interesting. So there's like four things here that I'm thinking about right now. Okay, so one is, don't get it twisted. We're not blindly obedient to some man from the past we've never met before. That's interesting because he knows the words of Joy Boy. And when Vegapunk sent out his message about the history of the ancient kingdom and things like that, and how Joy Boy was the original pirate, he said he didn't know who was in the right or who was wrong. All he knew was that the information that he had currently was that of someone who was just trying to basically give information about what had happened, and you pick your side. That's how I interpreted it, and that's how it seemed like it was laid out. And so it's like he's basically like, yeah, we know what happened with Joy Boy, at least what he said happened, but we don't blindly follow those words. We don't just immediately assume that he was telling the truth, but we want to see our captain's dream brought to light. And the interesting thing there is the fact that they talked about how Luffy's dream, the true dream, the secondary dream outside of becoming Pirate King, is exactly what Gold Roger said. So this means that they also want Luffy's dream to come true as well, because they share that dream. And of course, Shanks told Gabon and Rayleigh, hey, this kid that I know, he has the same dream as our captain. Like, so this just goes to show that Gabon knows like everything that has to do with these things. And he's like, I don't care about what Joy Boy wanted to accomplish, but I love my captain and I want his dream to come true. And for that to happen, Luffy needs to have his dream come true because they share it. So good. So fucking good. And Emu coughs up blood and he says, always loving the inside Taku. Glad I could catch the live today. Huge chapter. Yeah, it is. It is, Faith. It is crazy good. Like, so far, this is amazing. And it's fantastic so far. Like, this is so good. Like, I absolutely love this. Yeah, Emu looks like they're nearing their timer type shit, coughing up blood, because like Gabon hasn't even landed a single attack. And he just goes, Captain, and Luffy says, "Oh, I'm gonna get that old man for making fun of me." And he's like holding his wounds, and he's like, "Heal, get better. Just a moment is all I need." And Emu says, "Who is this captain?" And Gabon says, "The king of the pirates, Gold D. Roger." Fucking so good. Please make sure that you are liking and doing all that good stuff, subscribing. Appreciate all the love. And then Emu thinks back, and it says, "This disgusts Mu. Why is the D on the king of the pirates? Spread not that name." And it says, "Yes, great one." And the Gorosei are all bowed beneath him. Bro's getting flashbacks from Roger, too. hopefully he doesn't start sweating. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, oof. I really wish we could have seen a fight between Emu and Roger now. And he says, I see. The very man who turned this into the era of piracy. And Emu says, and why would the remnants of his crew protect Straw Hat Luffy? And Gabon says, because you're going out of your way to eliminate him. And they're like, huh? And it's like, is that not proof enough? Meaning you deem him a threat and you're the bad guy. So basically, if I stop you, I know that that's a good thing. Very interesting. Gabon says, if even you see him as a threat, and it says ... And then Roger says, someone will be born and eventually surpass us. We were just too early. God, love seeing Roger. And Gabon says, then you're telling us that this boy is the very man we've all been waiting for. And you see Rayleigh, Crocus, Shanks, Odin, and Whitebeard. And Luffy's just like still huffing. And Emu's like, indeed, we have been foolish. Perhaps we have mistaken numerous mere coincidences for destiny. Let us end that now. And Gabon says, no, you idiot, wait. And all of a sudden he like moves super fast. And he's above Emu and says, sorry about this one, Jewel Tree Adam. It wasn't my intent to eat you. Oh my God. And he's like, ow. And he says, damn these creaky joints. It sucks getting old. And Luffy's like, old jerk. I don't care if he is friends with Rayleigh. And Emu's like, Stig. He only got the Stig out. And he says, oh my God, the amount of Conqueror's hockey coming off of him, of Gabon, says, Gate of God. And he just blasts out Conqueror's hockey. And it looks like he's cut out the entire Atom Tree. And it looks like Emu's taking a direct hit. Holy. What a panel. Yo, this might be. Oh no. Yo, this might be critical mass hockey. Critical mass supreme grade fucking Supreme King Kong like hockey. Oh my God. There's just so much hockey coming off. And Emu's bleeding. And he's like, huh? Like, how could this happen? And he says, still the Pirate King's crew, even decrepit. Thou art so determined to believe? Interesting. He made Emu bleed, and he's just going at him. And he hits him with Yaki Takeru Honbami. Crazy. And is just fucking launching all these axe slashes. And there's just Conqueror's hockey coming off of all of them. Oh my God. And then Emu is like defending against all of them. And he says, like you aren't? And Emu's bleeding. And they start falling towards the underworld. And pieces of the Adam tree are falling. And they're crushing mountains. And it says, the sun world. What was that? Eek. And it says, was that Luffy? And Usopp's like, no, it's not. There's someone else up there. Someone devastatingly strong. And they're like, huh? Oh no. And we see Gabon, and he's missing an arm. He lost an arm, and he looks like he is trashed. And Luffy's finally kind of up, and he says, "Oh man." Oh my goodness. Damn. I really thought this was gonna kind of go crazy, but Emu is just so strong. He just man, I hope Gabon's not dead. I really hope not. I'm fine with him losing an arm, but man. Absolutely crazy. I want to know what happened here while they were falling.
Did you just finish?
I did. Gabon's missing an arm.
Yeah.
And he looks pretty well packed up.
Oh, you think so?
I don't think he's dead.
Okay.
But I think this is Luffy finally waking up after his wounds healing. Mm-hmm. One thing that I also really like is the fact that Luffy's struggling here and is like basically like telling his wounds to heal. He's like, heal, get better. Just a moment is all I need. Is super interesting just because we know that his power is the most ridiculous power to basically make imagination real. So him telling his body to heal, I wonder if it's going to work. Which could mean all sorts of different implications in the future. But also just, I love Gabon. Like, the fact that he's like, if even you see him as a threat, then you're telling us that this boy is the very man we've all been waiting for. And then seeing Crocus, Rayleigh, Gabon, Shanks, Odin, and Whitebeard all in this panel is just like chef's kiss. It's beautiful to see.
I sent you some wing emojis that got open and kind of reacting.
Okay. Let's see here.
I sent you a bunch if you want to start the first one, I guess.
Yeah. That's really funny.
Okay, you guys, they're not all like that. You keep going. The next one's kind of like that. Sorry. Start reacting on here.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, his chain do be fake. Like again, like I said, 2 chapters ago, this man was saying, "I ain't nobody could beat me," and then immediately proceeded to get beat. Also, him using whatever this is, the Gate of God, and just cutting the Adam tree like that, fucking crazy. And then it hitting Emu while Emu was trying to use the blade of Stigma, just so crazy. And then you can see it right here. He blocked, but he is bleeding from the forehead. Like, in both these panels, which means that he took a hit. So, that's crazy one. Yeah, someone else on Twitter, are we about to see Luffy in his rage mode? Maybe. Listen, I've always thought about this, okay? This is deep into my theories. So, we all think Luffy possibly has some blood of Shandia in him because Dragon has tattoos similar to the other Shandians that we see on Skypiea, and Garp also, they all have like the same kind of like slightly darker than normal complexion that the Shandians have as the Skypieans. Um, and one of the things that I really like is the fact that Calgara had red hair. And he was super cool. He had the face tats, like he had, yeah, like he was just so cool. Calgara has like historically not been like a fucking super like he's very much a niche character because he's only in Skypiea. He's only ever referenced there one time. And the dude, he Calgara has a daughter named I think her name is Moose, and um, the other boy who's in there, I forget what the fuck his name was. It's like Sato, I believe, or something. I forget, but he looks exactly like Luffy without the scar, and he has a different haircut. And I'm like, what if like Luffy is actually also a descendant of Calgara? Like somewhere down the line, like the Shandian bloodline that is from the great warrior Calgara, because like Calgara has been, a mainstay in like the One Piece trading card game. He's got like his own alt leader. He has like he's got like some of the coolest like holo cards. Like he's a pretty big deal in the TCG, and like a lot of other like side characters that were only in backstories don't really have that. So like he has like a insane kind of, emphasis put on him. So it's like, what if like when Luffy does go into like a rage mode or something like that, or like shifts gears in a way to like a hybrid form or whatever, like especially because Skype is where we learn about the Sun God and all the other gods. Like, what if there's a possibility that Luffy's hair, instead of it being white, is red? Like, because a lot of people, when Luffy's Gear 5th first came out, everyone drew it with red hair. Like, they drew it with, like, almost like it was fire, because it kind of looked like it. But what if that's actually accurate? Because when we see him in Egghead, there's a moment where he gets pissed off as regular base Luffy and goes almost Gear 5th, but his hair is, like, red. Here, let me look it up real quick, because I was like, that's so crazy if that is like a foreshadow to literally. Look at this. This is like literally he gets mad,
Yeah.
and his hair turns red, and he gets like the scarf around him and everything. Like, and this isn't the first time this has happened either. It happened like 2 other times. But it's almost like it's foreshadowing the possibility that there's like a hybrid mode where he may get that. And it could be referenced to Calgara in that way. So I think that we might finally be getting that. Gabon training
Do
Luffy.
you think that could happen?
I think so.
Like, like the Rayleigh arc?
I think he needs it. I think that this is showcasing, and this is insane, but this move that Gabon does, the Gate of God, very much seems like an expulsion of like the most insane Conquerors hockey. And the only other time that we've seen someone use this much Conquerors hockey was when Garp and Roger fought the Domi reversied rocks, and they literally said like we have to amass our Conquerors hockey to such a degree and release it all in one shot, and that's the only way that we're going to be able to bypass Rox's defenses in a way that's meaningful to stop him. This to me looks like it's critical mass hockey, which is what they had talked about. So Luffy needs to learn this, one, to be able to affect Emu, because look, we see how effective it is. Look at, he's able to draw blood from Emu. This isn't just Emu spitting up blood because his timer's running out. This is Emu getting caught and he's bleeding from his head. So I think that there's a good possibility we're getting a Gabon style training. Monkey D Dragon. I won't be there no matter what. Yeah. It's so hard. It's so hard because Dragon's gonna be strong. He's gonna be strong. He's gonna be relevant. He's gonna be all these things. But we haven't seen this motherfucker do anything. And like, he may be the reason why Emu's like, yo, I gotta pull up to Elbaf because they're burning my home. But it's not looking good. It's a very bad look. But then again, I mean, Dragon also hasn't really made it he hasn't like really made any moves to save Luffy outside of Logtown one time. He did it once and he was like, that's Father of the Year material. And then he was like, I'll take the pats on the back and then move on. So, I don't know. He's busy fighting a war. They gonna reattach his arm. I bet that's what this scene was for. Maybe. That's a good thing. So, my wife just showed me the thing where Emu slashed off Gerd's fingers. And it's kind of like pointing to the fact that Gabon may get his arm reattached. Maybe. If they can get to him in time. I mean, Chopper was right there when that happened. And, like, you know, I feel like you're going to need someone to be their stat. Now, hopefully Chopper is moving towards there. And maybe he's the one who patched up Luffy while this was all happening. Maybe, who knows? But, I mean, it's a possibility that Gabon's just going to be one-armed, you know? And honestly, I'd be fine with that. He's part of the old generation. He doesn't need to be fighting anymore after this point. So, you know, he's kind of not outlived his usefulness, but he doesn't need to be on the front lines like this. I just want him to survive because of Ripley and Colin. Literally. That's the only reason. Because Ripley's fighting like hell to keep Colin safe, and for her to hopefully keep Colin safe and then lose Gabon would be fucking tragic. But, you know, it's One Piece. People don't die unless they need to. I just saw the Gordon Ramsay one. Gabon to Luffy. You fucking donkey. Yeah. He he basically said, "Bro, you're useless. Either stay out of this fucking fight, or get better, kid." Um, Someone else on Twitter. One thing I like about Gabon is that he's very emotionally intelligent. His words to the trio have been very calculated. He pokes at Zoro's sense of duty and responsibility. He identifies Sanji's lack of self worth, and for Luffy, he identifies his fear of being weak. Yeah. No, he's. And then it says, even in Elbaf flashback, the way he consoles Shanks, you can tell he was the heart of the Roger Pirates. Yeah. Yeah. Because when Shanks was like all upset about, him being uh, a celestial dragon, basically, he's like, hey, like, you don't need to do that. Like, that's a bad way of, it's like bad self talk. Like, don't do that. Yeah, Gabon is great. He said himself he's the priest of love. Like he knows people, he understands people, and he knows what they need and what they need to hear. Um, and yeah, he poked fun at Zoro. He was like, "Yo, you are leaking your Conqueror's hockey, and you don't understand what the fuck you're doing. Get it under wraps, brother. Like you need to fucking get on it." And then he said to Sanji, he's like, "Hey, like there's a deep like lack of self-worth within you. Like it's like a self-deprecating thing that you are doing currently." Because Sanji has all the hate for himself and also Germa and the Germa genes that make him special, to the point where he hates himself in a sense. So yeah, no wonder you can't unlock Conqueror's hockey. You have no confidence in yourself. How can you exude a conqueror's will if you can't even move past the small piece of the fact that you are not your father's son in the way that he wants you to be, and you don't need to be a better person. And then yeah, Luffy hates the fact that he's weak. He suffered from it so much. When he lost his whole crew in Sabaody, he was punching the ground, yelling about how weak he was. When he lost Ace, he realized truly how weak he was, and Jinbei had to pull him out. And he came back after 2 years and was super confident. But then, when Kaido blew up the mountain that might have had his people in it, he lost his shit too because he was too weak to stop him. Like, there's a lot of different things here. And yeah, Gabon is just next level. Two more. Let's see here. Someone said, "Bro, where the fuck is Shanks? Elbaf is his territory. His brother was there wreaking havoc. Loki supposedly he got detained, got unleashed. Luffy damn near dead. Gabon damn near dead. Perfect time for Shanks to show up, man." No. I do not want Shanks to show up. I don't need Shanks to show up to save the day. That, I think, ruins this arc. It does, to me. There's no growing if Shanks just shows up and fucking smooths everything over. If he fucking packs up Emu, or at least, stops him from. Don't get me wrong, be a cool fight to see. But I think it ruins the story of this. This is Luffy learning that he is weak still. Even Emu grabbed him and said Joy Boy couldn't be this weak. Even at Joy Boy's lowest, he ain't a punk like you. Like, and then Gabon straight up said the same thing. Like, yo, you're weak as fuck. You need to either get it together or you need to get the fuck out of the way. Just 100%. I do not want Shanks showing up. That just, Marineford, it was cool. It needed to happen because it needed to have an end to the conflict. But Luffy was already pretty much gone at that point. He was given to Law, and they were in the submarine and they were going. It was fine. Shanks showing up right now gives us nothing besides for just more Shanks, which sure, cool. But it does nothing. Luffy needs to realize he's weak. He needs to overcome that weakness. And he needs to learn that there's a price for him fooling around. There's a price for him not taking things seriously. And I don't know if it's either a combination of him not taking it seriously or just the fact that he truly is not up there. You know, if you put Kaido in this situation, right? We just got off the heels of fighting Kaido, 2 arcs ago at this point. Kaido was holding up a whole island, fought a whole slew of people, and got shit-faced all at the same time, killed Luffy, and beat him like 3 times just to have Luffy come back. And, I think that Kaido would have probably went like harder against Imu because of the fact that Kaido fights to his comp, and Imu is a way stronger than Kaido. But I think he would have went all out and he would have taken it more seriously. And I think that there's a way that Luffy can be still Gear 5 Luffy, still having fun, bouncing around, doing his thing, but also still doing, what he needs to do. When we see Luffy in Egghead, when he fights Rob Lucci for the first time, well, technically the second time, but the first time in Egghead, he immediately off rip goes Gear 5th, puts this dude through a wall, and starts just beating the living shit out of him. You can do that against Lucci. You can't do that against Imu. There's no palling around with this guy. And I think that you can still do all the things that Gear 5 Luffy does while also bringing out your best. Like, Luffy's observation haki should be second to none. Like, he has future sight. He has all of these things, all these hakis in his kit that literally can make him a fighting force. And I feel like he was not doing enough of those, especially in this type of fight. So I think that Gabon definitely needs to train him. I think that we definitely might see a Rage Luffy mode, and I'm kind of hoping to see it. I'm hoping that it's just kind of a one-off for this moment, and then he gets it more under control in a way that's meaningful. But it would be interesting to see. So that's what I'm hoping. But someone else on X also said, Luffy done costed 2 arms now, which is really funny. And it's the same arm.
Do you think there's a significance into that?
Maybe.
I
don't really think so.
No?
No.
I think Oda doesn't do things by mistake.
I think that Shanks lost his arm for a reason. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were saying, because a few chapters back when we see Shanks first get into the tub or whatever with the hot tub with Gabon, mm-hmm. he has the Shallows Covenant on that arm from when his time as a Holy Knight, the arm that got taken. So I think that there was a reason why Shanks was cool with that arm being taken.
Yeah.
Gabon, I think it's almost just like, I don't know, maybe Oda's a fan of taking people's left arms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, George Lucas loved having people cut off hands in Star Wars. Like, it was historically something he did every time. Like, Anakin lost his hand. Literally, fucking Mace Windu lost both his hands, or one of his hands, when he was thrown out the fucking window from Anakin. Then Anakin lost one of his other hands. Count Dooku lost both his hands before Anakin executed him. Luke lost a hand. Like, a lot of hands. A lot of hands were taken in George Lucas in Star Wars. So it could be, I mean, there might be a significance, but we will see. It'll definitely be funny one day when if Gabon and Shanks run into each other and they're like, they do like the Spider-Man meme but with one hand, you know. So, but yeah, this chapter's crazy. The only other thing that I want to know is there a break week? Do you know?
Oh, there is. They said it was something about a jump holiday.
Oh,
About being like a double.
boring.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to show you one more thing. It's not so much the content as much as I thought it was cool. After I was looking on X, I was like, oh, I should look on Threads. Right?
Yeah.
And I started looking at chapter 1190, and like, look at your phone right now.
Okay.
Anything that's a spoiler comes up like that until you click it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if people do that in Discord as well, you can do like a special like tag to where you have to click on it to make it seen. That way, no one actually gets spoiled.
Twitter or like other places do that.
Because
Okay. Anyway,
Twitter's a
you
fucking
can look at what he
cesspool.
said now.
Spoiler for One Piece manga if you're not caught up. Oda has been trying to tell us since Alabasta that Luffy is immortal. We just weren't paying attention. I'm pretty sure he's died like 4 different times at least. Also, I think his immortality is conditional. Maybe until Nika's wishes are fulfilled, or maybe it's the fruit itself. I'm not sure. My running theory is that it is the fruit because the hint that fruits can give immortality came into play when we met Brooke. Who knows? I highly disagree. And here's the reason why I disagree. One, that'd be whack.
Yo, valid point. Yeah.
It would be. I'm sorry. It just would be. If your protagonist is immortal and you only find out 11, like almost 1,200 chapters in, whack. 1. 2, yes, has Luffy survived many things that would have killed a normal person? 100%. That's also us showing that Luffy is not normal. He technically is a god because of his fruit. Now, do I think that means he's immortal? No. I think that we've even seen the people who were granted immortality can also still die in One Piece. Saturn died when Imu took his power, and they have a way to affect people's immortality by using Conqueror's Haki. So I do not think immortality is at play. I don't. At least not on Luffy's side. I think that Luffy, in a show that is the main thing that they, like, even though we want to talk about, like, Devil Fruits as a power system, right? And yes, it may have only been introduced later. Haki is the cornerstone and also one of the main themes of One Piece because all Haki is willpower. I think Luffy uses his will to keep himself alive. I don't think that it's some magical immortality that Nika's dream will come true because, and his immortality is tied to it. I don't. I think Luffy wills himself through the hardest of adversities because he has such a dream that he needs to fulfill. He cares so much about fulfilling his dream that he is able to push himself past the basically what would kill everybody else. When Kaido beat the shit out of him the first time, he speed blitzed him. Luffy was unconscious on the ground, and Kaido remarked about how he was unconscious, but yet he was still glaring at him as if he was pissed off. Like and Crocodile skewered him with his hook, and he survived by pure will. And there were other times where Luffy was down and out against Rob Lucci and all these other people. Like, there are so many instances where Luffy has basically pushed himself to the brink of death or close to it, and has brought himself the W because of pushing himself by sheer will alone. You know, this is a guy who cared about his crew so much he climbed a mountain with his bare fingers and was holding one person on his back, one person with his teeth, and pushed himself to bring them to the top of the mountain. Like, he's overcome things that would kill everyone, you know, easily, especially fights and different things like that. Like, he just is that. And there's more precedence to say that willpower was the thing pushing him through than some immortality. And honestly, it would be a huge knock, in my opinion, if they were like, Luffy's immortal, because then it means that it wouldn't have mattered had he pushed himself to do all those things because he knew he was going to get out of it in the end. Like, now, granted, obviously we know the story has plot armor in that way, where Luffy is going to succeed in some form or fashion. But we've seen him lose. You know, we know what that looks like. It's not like everything goes swimmingly for him, and it's the journey along the way that we want to see. So I just really, it would be the biggest fumble, in my opinion, if we found out Luffy was immortal. I could see, again, his fruit allows for a lot of insanity with his imagination. So I can see him healing himself by imagining that he's healing, you know, and stuff like that. But I can't imagine him immortal. Like, I just can't. I would absolutely hate that for his character. Because then it means, like, what is all the adversity for? If he can just get killed and just keep going, there's no, he doesn't need the will to go move on. He just needs to just keep going. Because he'll live forever. It doesn't matter. So, yeah. There's some shows that I like with immortality in them. This just ain't one of them. So, yeah. What a chapter. What a chapter. Break week after. Not a pause by the author break by Ichiro Oda, but rather scheduled joint holiday for Weekly Shonen Jump. Boring. 1191 will return except the following week when the magazine resumes publication. So, oh man, that means that that's going to be the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. 23rd for the official. Damn, another break. I mean, honestly, these chapters have been so fire, I feel like they need to, like, sit with you for a little bit, so I'm cool with it. But yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of discussions, a lot of talks. There's a lot in this chapter. So let me run through this real quick, and then I want to be on my way because I need coffee and breakfast, even though it's 3. Maybe just coffee and then maybe some form of food. Cover story, not important.
Other news, 7 Brew just announced they're getting an app.
Nice. Oh man, that'd be great if one of their lanes was just for people and the other was for mobile orders. That'd be fucking sweet. This whole fight with Gabon and Emu was incredible, and I just love the dialogue. The fact that Gabon is dodging his shit, and he's so fast, just makes me go, I hope Sanji. I hope Sanji's like this. this is so good. Him picking up Luffy all poked up and just being like, dude, you need to get it the fuck together. Like, just so good. I'm probably gonna reread this like 4 times just to like get the full thing together. Like I said, low key, one of the hardest panels is this picture right here. The way Oda drew Luffy is just, it's so phenomenally done. There's so much detail in this little side panel here. I absolutely love it. Because in the rest of them, he just kind of draws Luffy like white eyes, mouth open, bleeding, and stuff like that. And just so good. And then Gabon just being a goat and just making Emu look stupid in a way, and also like giving him this little like poking fun at him. Basically, he's like, does he really remind you so much of Joy Boy? Like, just so good. And then him saying like, I was part of the King of the Pirates crew. And especially, I love this part. But don't get it twisted. We're not blindly obedient to some man from the past we've never met before. We just want to see our captain's dream brought to light. Which is so interesting because, again, that to me is such an amazing line, because Yamato has said in Odin's journal that because she knows Luffy's second dream, because Ace told it to her, and then she told Ace he has the same dream as the King of the Pirates. So that means Luffy's second dream truly is something that even the old guard wants to protect. So that's super great. Like, we're getting so much in this chapter without actually getting the actual thing, which is so Oda. The flashback Emu had about the King of the Pirates having the D in his name, and him being upset about it, also pretty great. And the thing that's like, if even you see him as a threat, then he is who we've been waiting for. And then seeing all the old people, like all the people that have paved the path from the King of the Pirates crew, or being part of the King of the Pirates friends, like, that's so good. And one thing that I feel like we also haven't like really kind of grasped on, and in fact I missed it, right here, Emu goes to say, indeed we have been foolish, perhaps we have mistaken numerous mere coincidences for destiny. Let us end that now. We are seeing the fact that Luffy has an omen on him, which is why Emu is about to use stigma, because it tracks about the omen. Is she awake?
Yeah, we gotta go.
Okay. And this whole scenario is just so great. Him cutting the Atom Tree and this whole thing and making Emu bleed, just phenomenal. Like, so much lore, so much great stuff, and this like last panel of him with his arm off. I really hope we don't flash to Zoro and Sanji's fight after this. I really want to see what's going on with this. But overall, I mean, this chapter was like, it was like a 10 out of 10. It was like it was a 10 out of 10 to me. It was super good. So I hope you guys also thought that. It was fantastic. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you so much, Faith, for coming through. Thank you to my lovely wife, who is just went up to get our baby, who is waking up from her nap. And then please subscribe, follow on TikTok, whatever. Please check out my Linktree, check out my TCG player shop. I'm constantly pulling cards. I love the card game, obviously. I have my graded cards over here. And yeah, just really appreciate all the support, you guys. Please comment. Let me know your thoughts on this chapter. Let me know everything. Let's have a dialogue because, I say it every stream, always will. One Piece is better as a conversation. And I love having that conversation with you guys. So I will see you guys not next weekend because we are on a break per Shonen Jump. But I will see you the following, and I will be super excited for next chapter. So, as always, have a wonderful time. Clutchy, have a good day. Thank you. Thank you so much, Clutchy. Appreciate you coming through. And I will see you guys next time because it is guaranteed to be a banger, one way or the other. So, have a wonderful weekend, and see you next time. Jana.